Good morning, everyone. Happy Thursday it is. How are you today? And welcome to BDTVTT. I am Hilary De Freitas, digital marketing strategist, and today and Bernadette
And
Chinley.
Bernadette Chinley, the Riverside Digital Marketing Strategist.
Just to let everybody know, I am overcoming a flu, cough, virus, and it's not the coronavirus. I have not been to China recently.
No on a plane.
No on a plane. I'm just here inhaling Sahara Desert dust in Trinidad and Tobago.
Yes, and when your immune system is being bugged by the Sahara dust, then you're even more likely to get a flu. So don't jump and get a flu virus vaccination because your throat is hurting.
Yes.
And I wouldn't tell you go buy apple cider because then the cost of apple cider is going to go up. So don't buy apple cider. No, it's not going to work.
Okay.
All right. Today's topic.
So for the month of actually February, we're going to be talking about branding and branding from the perspective of how it helps you as the business owner generate sales. And the reason we're talking about this is because close to the end of last month, both Bernadette and I, we were on a live stream video, international webinar with a couple digital marketers out of Florida and Denmark, and we were talking around the discussion. It started off with branding, but it was focused on how do customers find you, and which platforms are they going to find you on, open versus closed platforms. And this is particularly important for those who, if you're selling online, you've got all your stores online, all right? What was interesting for me, Bernie, was that eBay was considered an open platform. That kind of shocked me.
Very much
right?
An open platform.
Open platform, right? So what we wanted to talk about and carry on this conversation
Before we step into that, Hilary, could you quickly describe what the difference between an open and a closed platform and why it is a serious consideration it's a serious topic for you to reconsider how you market. And when we talk about open and closed, it's also around social platforms is what we're referring to.
Right. So around these social open and closed platforms, basically as a business owner, you are trying to find, or you want people to find you. And it's kind of like putting yourself on an island, and there's no boats, no ships, no airplanes coming in and out of that island. That's closed network. And those are the networks that are like that are Facebook, Instagram. There's some that have this hybrid, all right? And basically it's those platforms that want to keep their users on that platform.
So to continue your analogy, if like I saw somebody say 20 billion people are on this island, this Facebook island, the 20 billion people are talking to themselves.
Pretty much, right? The 20 billion people are just talking to themselves and they're going around and around. It's kind of like in Trinidad, everybody knows everybody, right?
Right.
But the reality is, if the 20 million people do not represent even 0.05% of your customers, right? And I'm getting a little nerdy and mathy. That's the engineer coming out in me. But literally, if not even 1% of that 20 million are your customers, what's the point of being on that island? Find a way to get off and find where your customers are. Now, the easier way to do that is being on open platforms, because anybody could connect to open platforms. Google, Pinterest, YouTube, what else do we have? LinkedIn to a certain extent.
LinkedIn somewhat.
Right, LinkedIn somewhat. All right, because when we talk about open, closed, we're not talking about being able to find a person. 9 out of 10 times people are not looking for you. They're looking for your product or service, or they're looking for a solution to a problem, right? That your product or service is going to fill. But they may be saying to themselves, I remember seeing this product, and they're fixated on the product. And then what do? They go into almighty Google and they type the product name, And guess what? Because you're on that island, right, where your customers are not, or your potential customers aren't, they're not going to find you. What they're going to find is other people who've advertised or who've put out content on open platforms outside. All right. That's who they're going to find. And you want to be that one that's found. All right. So I hope that kind of summarizes the open close concept. And this is also, it ties neatly into branding, because as I just said, 9 out of 10 times people don't remember you. And it's not because you haven't done a good job of branding yourselves, but it's that, there are so many other brands out there that people are bombarded with, and they may genuinely want your product. And if you've branded, right, this whole month is going to be about branding. But if you've genuinely branded yourself correctly, people will remember you and they will be able to find you. All right. But one sec.
Yes, the question, the question is coming in. All right. So I read the question, so I'll read it for you. Okay. So now you just touched on a very hot topic. A lot of people, let's say I'm a traditional marketer, I've always advertised on newspaper, radio, billboards, digital boards, etc., etc. Carnival is hot in the air, and I have a juice that I want to market. And so therefore I brand my juice. Okay. So therefore I'm going to put a picture of my juice bottle and my logo, huge, big and bold, on billboards, etc., etc. And I'm going to do the same thing on Facebook, Instagram, wherever I choose, I'm normally doing. And I take that image and I send it out to the digital world. Is that correct branding?
So what you do offline and what you do online are very different, okay? Because online you have the ability to get the funnel going right away. So you don't want to just replicate what you would put on a billboard. Like, I could understand the juice and your logo on a billboard, because when somebody's driving, you want them to associate your company with that juice, so that when they go looking for it, they're either looking for the juice or they're looking for your company, one or the other. Mm-hmm. When you're online, you can't, it's not about you, it's about the customer. And even offline, it's about the customer. But like, I'm looking at the offline tactics versus the online tactics, the digital, right? Mm-hmm. You have to be giving your customers something that's going to make them be interested in the product. What is the product going to do for them at Carnival time? Is it going to give them extra energy so that they can last the full 2 days of Carnival? What is it about the product? Nobody cares about you online. What they really want to know is, how is this going to help me? And I can't remember where I saw it, but it was like, when you just push yourself in front of people, the customer's like, so what? And yeah, it's like, okay,
get away from me.
Get away from me, right?
Yes.
It's like, I don't care.
I want to take a selfie. I'm not paying attention to your ticker tape at the bottom. Exactly. I don't want your advertisement in my face when I want to watch YouTube and see my favorite artist singing his song on whatever stage he's on.
Exactly.
Okay? Get out of my face.
Right? Now, if you are very creative, like, as you say, it's like, if that drink, in the middle of the video, right? You're watching your favorite artist, in the middle of the drink, in the middle of the video, you get this ad with this juice, and it's totally disconnected. You're like, really? Yes. What it's actually doing is making people not want to buy your juice.
Not want to buy your juice, right? Exactly. But there are ways that branding, and very important question. If you're in business, you need sales. If you're in business, you want your marketing efforts to generate sales. Branding does not necessarily generate sales. Okay? We need to get away from the likes and the views number. Fine, it's in the millions and the hundreds of millions of thousands, whatever the number is, it doesn't matter. What matters is the conversion.
The conversion, exactly.
So Hillary and I, we get very hot about this topic because we see so much marketing dollars being wasted. Somebody wants to put $30,000 on a campaign, and it's all about branding. Branding is top of funnel sales. Top of funnel means where you keep feeding people into your sales funnel to get them to come out on the other end. And people who come out on the other end, it's an imagery, all right? The sales funnel is an imagery. But the people who come out on the other end are your buyers. So the figure and the number and the percentage that you have to focus on is the number of buyers. Now, if that percentage gets increased by 1%, stats prove that that 1% is actually a 15% increase in sales just by increasing your conversion by 1%.
Yeah.
And this is across the board in terms of industry, businesses, whatever. It doesn't matter. So we want to tell you, rethink what branding is and what your brand is. So now we're not going to go 100% into what better branding is all about and what it should be and what you should say, etc., etc. We just want you to understand that branding is what percent? 2%, 3%? I think it's 5% is actually.
I would say 5% is a good, because you have to have an audience, right? But the thing is, I always say, as you said, use your marketing dollars wisely. You could brand and also get people into your funnel at the same time. So when I see people setting aside a budget only to generate likes, and then all of the marketing efforts, the images, the videos that they're creating, everything that they're spending that money on is just to generate a like on Facebook or a view. And I'm like, where is it leading to? And this is the challenge that, I think, and as you said, we get hot and bothered with it, because even most recently, I saw the wastage of money on a campaign, and I kept asking the question, where is this leading to? What do you want the person who's viewing this on Facebook, on Instagram to do? What do you want them to do? Where are we taking them? No thought of the sales funnel. And you could have your idea of the sales funnel even inside of branding. Okay? You just take
expert marketers spend more time thinking about the call to action and continuing to strategize on how to get the 100 people who viewed their video, their ad, their whatever, to get their name and number.
Yeah.
That's the first conversion, and then continue the conversation.
The view is not a conversion. The like is not a conversion. The heart is not a conversion. And thank you for the likes, by the way.
Yeah.
As we are. Right? But those are not the conversions. The conversion, obviously, as Bernie said, it's when you put in your name and email, or when you give them a phone number. All right? On the offline world, they're walking into the store is not a conversion. All right?
Unless they buy. But then how do you know that buy was generated because of your billboard on, let's say, Ryson Road? How do you know? There are ways to do it. But if you don't do it, you're not going to know.
You're not going to know. And you're not going to know where you should spend your marketing dollars. Right? So one of the questions that I think from a branding.
Sorry.
Hello.
Yeah. My favorite 2018 song. Super.
Right. So one of the questions that, surrounds branding is that concept of locally, why would somebody pick up in Digger Martin and drive all the way to San Fernando to buy your product?
Well, I remember as a youth, we used to make excursions to go to Davie. Why? For doubles. Why? Because it was fresh, right? Because in town, it was all about, they would cook it the night before. Yes, it was steaming hot because it was kept in the cooler, but the barra was flat.
Yeah.
And when you go to Davie, or when you taste doubles fresh, I mean, it's a whole different experience. So we used to, after a day on Maracas, drive to Davie, right? To get doubles. Gone were the days of Currap. We didn't go Currap anymore. All right.
Oh my goodness.
I mean, yeah, I know. I'm talking about before your time, Hillary.
Yeah.
But we used to drive. First of all, we used to drive from, let's say you were in whatever nightclub it was in Digger Martin or in town. We would drive to Currap for the doubles. 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning, and then go home.
And
but
that's
then,
the brand.
Guess what? After the beach, we would drive to Davie to get the doubles, right? No, we don't do that anymore. But I'm sure there are youth out there that do it. Mm-hmm. All right, and it was because of the fresh. So therefore, so I do look forward when I'm on my drive to Toko or to Mearu. I stop in at Arima and get the fresh doubles.
Right.
All right. So I don't have to go to Davie anymore.
All right.
But that's just an example of how to get people. Why would people drive across town to buy from you? Why would they go from Chagonas to San Fernando to buy from you if there's another retailer that sells the same product that you sell?
Yeah.
All right.
And I think especially if, for example, there are people who would make that drive, even knowing that the price is higher. What is it that's pulling them? Mm-hmm. Right? And that is the question that, as a business owner, you have to ask yourself, what are you creating in your company, in your brand, that makes people literally do the insane? All right. Let's think about Apple. Like, when I think about it, it's like Apple's brand makes people do the insane. I'm not camping outside of any store. I've never camped outside of any store for 24 hours to get my Samsung. Okay. But people do that for Apple year in, year out. Mm-hmm. What is it about your brand that makes people literally do crazy things? Okay. Mm-hmm. Buying a product.
And in a sense, when Amazon started, they started with books. And when I looked at that, I was like, wow, that's a great idea. Okay. Now, Amazon went through a lot of trial and error. Okay. To try and find, even though they had a big market, they were always looking to see, why are people coming to my site? All right. Mm-hmm. So then they invented the Kindle, they invented the ebooks, they invented the audiobooks, etc., etc. Okay. But one big reason why, and they knew it, but they just kept testing it. And that was because of their return policy. No other online company was doing what Amazon started doing. Their free return policy. If a buyer made a mistake in buying a product after they had it in their hand and they flipped through it, it was like, I really don't want this. There was no questions asked. Amazon took it back for free. Right? And guess what? I think about 3 years ago, or maybe even last year, they put out an email to all their subscribers saying that if your return percentage is higher than, I forget the number, 5%, 10, 15%, whatever the percentage is, if your return rate is higher than this percentage, meaning you buy 5 times and return 3 times, they're not going to do business with you anymore.
Right.
Right? And that's because people abuse what you stand for. All right. So there are ways to test. And that's just one example of how and why Amazon is still around. And they continue to make sure that and then I read it recently, how did they increase that, giving the audience what they love? They started advertising on TV and on Facebook, etc., etc. I saw the ads, and then all of a sudden it disappeared. And I read an article just this week gone that said the reason why they stopped advertising is because they realized that if they took that advertising money and put it in their customers, put it in the customer journey experience, they will guarantee their continued success. And that is exactly what they did. They put their advertising budget into the customer journey. And that is what we're talking about. Your brand is bigger than your logo. It's bigger than your colors. It's bigger than what you say and what you tell people what to think about you. You need to figure out through testing. Got to test. You got to keep improving that core reason why people would drive across town to buy from you, even though they could go right down the street and buy it from, or walk and buy it from their competitor.
Exactly. Yeah.
So that's my rant. Have we covered all your questions?
A good rant.
Yes.
I think we did. One of the things, I don't know if we did touch on it, but the social effects. You see here, talking about yourself, and I guess that was covered there. But one of the things that you spoke about in that example as well is allocating that budget, your marketing budget, into the funnel. And a lot of people think that the funnel ends once the person becomes a customer.
You need an email or becomes a customer. No.
The customer, your funnel continues, and you always have to
put them into a new funnel.
Right? That becomes a customer funnel, and we'll be talking about that next week, actually, with that customer funnel and ways to nurture that funnel. All right,
it's a very hot topic as well.
Yeah. So, but the purpose of this is for you to really see that your brand, in order to generate sales, must start with you understanding your funnel, your sales funnel. You could tell the customers out there, the leads, the potential customers out there, everything you want them to know about you and your values and all of this stuff. But they're literally going to say, and
so what?
So what? You have to answer that question for them.
And then they'll say, good job. Have a good day. Bye.
Or they'll do this. Or
they give this in your heart. Okay. And I mean, it's great to get the likes and the views and the comments and the feedback, but we want you to generate, to create sales funnels, create customer journeys that will increase your sales. All right. And we can't do it from you just looking at our free videos and free webinars. It takes research, it takes testing, it takes time to move your customers away from what you've been telling them, to regain customers that you have pushed away because of all your previous marketing, to really find the customers that resonate with you. So have we covered everything, all the questions? So yeah. Building better funnels, building better sales funnels that actually get first names and emails and eventually sales. And also want to give you a big tip today is that online shopping is not the only way to get a sale. Okay, so yes, you want to sell more products, Yes, you have an offline store. I mean, you have a physical store. There are ways of using online strategies like what we're doing here today, a video, an image, campaigns, etc., to generate sales to your traditional store. But it doesn't have to be that you have to have an e-commerce website. There are ways to do it.
Definitely. And I just put inside of the comments on this video for you to be able to morning, Jeff, how you doing? Inside of the comments, that's for you to connect with us, jump inside of our BDTV, Business Development TV Trinidad and Tobago group. It is on Facebook. It's a private group, so you would need to just answer a couple of questions so that we know who we're working with, and you can connect with us to get started in terms of building better funnels. All right. So, Bernie, I think, is that all? I just wanted to grab that link and put it there.
That's pretty much it. That's pretty much it. So if you have a question around branding to create sales, if you have a question around how to create sales with better online campaigns, definitely touch base. Leave a comment under the video here on either Hillary's page, right? Correct. Right now it's on Hillary's page. No problem. I'll be sharing it around as well on my social profiles and pages. Definitely with your questions, we get a little closer to what it is that you're looking for. So leave a question, leave a comment, definitely subscribe. We are just beginning in terms of what we have and what we will be doing in 2020.
Have a good one, everybody, and we see you next week, same time, same channels. Bye.